تعجل بالقرآن من قبل أن يقضى إليك وحيه وقل رب زدني علما.
The man of the household, that you have a responsibility to safeguard your family, to make sure that your wife and your children are safeguarded, meaning not from just the physical threats, but that they are safeguarded from all types of wrong and haram, that you make sure your household is a household upon the sunnah, a household that has no haram within it, a household that is implementing the Quran, implementing the Sunnah, teaching your children upon that way, giving them the correct tarbiyah, the correct upbringing, because Allah told us in the Quran, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا, protect yourselves and your families from the fire. So how do you protect yourselves and your families from the fire? That fire whose fuel is men and stone. You protect yourselves and your families by ensuring that they are educated upon the Quran and Sunnah, that your household is implementing the Quran and Sunnah, that it is far from any type of haram ever entering into it, that it is a household where obedience and worship is done within it, a household where prayer is done within it, the recitation of the Quran is done within it. That is from the means of protecting yourselves and your families from the fire. That is from the means of fulfilling your role as the shepherd over your flock, the shepherd over your household. And that is the role of the husband, and as the hadith comes on to mention later on, there is a role for the wife, for the mother within that too. It is the responsibility of the father and also the mother. She is also a shepherd within the household. She also has the responsibility with her children, particularly for the mothers with their daughters, and the fathers more so with their sons, to make sure that they are getting the correct tarbiyah, the correct cultivation, the correct upbringing, so that the daughters are raised with modesty and they are raised with that humbleness and shyness, and they are not raised upon the ways of the disbelievers, that they have no shyness and they have no modesty, and they do not cover when they exit their homes, but rather you are the shepherd over your flock, and the mothers are also the shepherd over their children, to make sure that they are being raised in the correct way. So the daughters are raised upon modesty and shyness, and raised upon the role models of the likes of Aisha radiallahu anha and Khadija radiallahu anha, the great female companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the sons, that they are raised in a manner of honor and dignity, in a manner of having the muru'ah, the dignity of an individual, the honor and nobility that a person has the integrity in their religion. You raise them upon the characteristics of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Raise them upon the good characteristics, the good manners and morals and behaviors, and you keep them away from the evil characteristics and evil behaviors and evil traits, and you forbid the lying to occur from them, and you forbid the backbiting to occur within your household, and you forbid the storytelling and namima to occur within your household. These are all from the meanings of you being a shepherd over your household. You ensure that your children are being raised connected to the Quran and the Sunnah, connected to the mosque, connected to learning, so that they are not left to their own devices, left to go on the streets, left to make their friends on the streets, and so that they grow up in drugs and grow up in crime and grow up in all of the other affairs of evil that exist on the streets. If a person allows his children to be raised in that way, then you are not fulfilling your role as the shepherd over your household. Then you are not fulfilling your role if you allow your children to grow up on the streets, out with the people who do not pray, out playing with the people who do not care about their religion at all, out on the streets getting into smoking and drugs and other crime. You are not fulfilling your responsibility, and as parents, you will be questioned about it on Yawmul Qiyamah. You will be questioned over your responsibility that you had for your children, and if you did not fulfill that responsibility, then you will be questioned upon that as to why you did not fulfill your responsibility, and you'll be held accountable upon that. So every man is a shepherd over his family, over his wife and children. The man is also a shepherd over his wife to ensure that his wife is also upon modesty and covering, and his wife is upon practice of the religion and praying. The husband has that responsibility with his wife too, and the wife likewise can encourage and advise her husband where there is a need to do so, but in particular her role on top of that will be to safeguard the home of her husband, and to safeguard the children and make sure that they are being raised in the right way, that they are being raised as or with good role models for them in their parents. But if the parents themselves, they do not pray, and the parents themselves, they know nothing about the Quran and the Sunnah, the parents themselves, they allow the haram to occur in the house, they bring in the haram into the house, the parents themselves waste their time, and there is no importance given to learning the Quran and the Sunnah and its implementation, to learning knowledge, to practicing the religion, then what do you expect if your children end up upon that same way, and they are not practicing their religion, and they are not praying, and they do not even learn the prayer, and they are not reciting the Quran or memorizing it? The parents will be responsible for that on Yawmul Qiyamah. That is what the Messenger is telling us. كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. All of you are shepherds and all of you are responsible for your flock. You are responsible for the correct upbringing and tarbiyah of the children.